How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper. My goal on this channel is to teach you how to read the rewards of trading whether the price is going up or down. So, Fed rate hikes possibility for our next hike is getting really close to a 50 to 75% probability right now. We did go down a little bit, not sure where the remaining percentage went, but we did have less of a chance for like a quarter. People were even speculating we might pivot. But now it's looking like if CPI comes in a little hot like expected, then we might not pivot like we want. 722 banks reported unrealized losses of more than 50% of capital. The U.S. Federal Reserve has revealed in a board presentation by the Division of Supervision and Regulation that 722 banks reported that they have lost over 50%. This is due to raising interest rates, which are creating significant unrealized losses in investment securities, and in some cases depressing tangible equity. So what's happening is if they have a fixed rate for you at 2%, and we're paying that 5 or 4%, they're losing 2 to 3%. SBF's defense seeks to dismiss most criminal charges against FTX founder. So of the 13 charges, he wants to get 10 of them dismissed. In Monday's filing in a Manhattan federal court, SBF sought to dismiss several allegations and assertions that the law firm Sullivan & Cromwell, which represents FTX in the bankruptcy proceedings, has acted as an agent of the federal government in constructing the criminal case against him. So he's saying FTX and their lawyers are against him. He faces 13 charges. They're trying to have 10 charges dropped. The filing contended that 4 of the charges, which include foreign bribery, campaign finance, and bank fraud, breach aspects of the extradition process. And then they also said that the remaining 6 charges are too ambiguous or have other legal shortcomings and should be dismissed. So they're only admitting to commit securities fraud, conspiracy to money laundering, and conspiracy to commit commodities fraud. So they're not really admitting to a whole lot here. We do have until May 29th to get a response, at which time, then after that, June 15th is going to be where all the arguments will be heard. So prosecutors and SBF are going to make their case on the 15th of June. German fintech Unstoppable Finance to launch Europe's first DeFi native bank. So this is a pretty cool concept. We'll see if it works good. Unstoppable Finance, currently most well known for its self-custodial crypto wallet called Ultimate, announced today it will be rolling out Europe's first compliant DeFi native bank, alongside a fiat-backed Euro-pegged stablecoin following the MiCA guidelines. So not a CBDC, a stablecoin. So everyone can calm down about the CBDC for Europe, so that's good. The DeFi banking arm will ensure that the stablecoin is fully backed by reserves as outlined by the new legislation from Brussels. The biggest difference between this coin and USDC is that the liquidity crisis hit several banks, and USDC's reserves were in these banks, so they got hit by more areas, which caused them to depeg, whereas their goal here is to be able to switch to any ECB account, European Central Bank account, at any time, which this DeFi network would probably allow them to do. Kim Jong-un gets approved for Gate.io crypto account. Or did he? An account application under the name of Kim Jong-un cleared Gate.io's Know Your KYC checks, which is a big problem because KYC is supposed to prevent bad actors like Kim Jong-un. To debunk this, he applied. So Zach XBT, he's a on-chain person that goes through a lot of things, and he did this application. He applied for the account with the name Kim Jong-un and an email address, not Lazarus. Zach XBT screenshotted the approval, showing that he got approved relatively quick. I think I read that as a few minutes. It's unclear whether he had altered ID documents, but even if he did, the KYC isn't really verifying like your face recognition against your ID to verify that the name on the ID is the real name. To hammer home the point, he repeated this process using made-up names and names listed on the Office of Foreign Asset Control sanction lists, with email addresses such as Harmony Cracker and Lazarus Lover. So, people on the list that should not be approved, Zach XBT managed to say he was them and get approved. So that's a big red flag for Gate.io. So, gotta move that line, sorry about that. So Bitcoin dominance has a little bit of a gap here. Sorry, I was trying to see it, and I couldn't remember what time frame I saw, but we have a very micro gap here. So gaps tend to fill, so the good news is eventually our Bitcoin dominance could snap back. The question is, when? Well, this is a pretty good support resistance area, so if we don't make a bounce off here and fill that gap after that, then it's likely we could drop to around this level at that 47.5 level, and then possibly bounce up and fill it. We'll kind of have to see. But our stochastic's falling, RSI's falling, money flow's pretty flat, VWAP's coming out, so most of our signals are bearish. Excuse me. Over on our total market cap, everything but Bitcoin and Ethereum, RSI's sliding, stochastic's pretty beat down, looks like it wants to make some sort of a cross soon, so we'll see what turns out from that. We did push away pretty far from this channel. I'd say we probably made the full breakdown of the channel at this point. Yeah, right here. So, pretty much made the full breakdown. Money flow's pretty flat. VWAP's trying to head up. Our stochastic might get around in the next couple days. We'll have to kind of watch. The biggest point is going to be on tomorrow, as that's when we see if those CPI numbers are coming in hot or not, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video. Stochastic's falling, RSI's falling, our momentum wave is falling, our VWAP's pretty flat, but it's well into the bearish territory. Our money flow is pretty flat, it's in the bullish territory, but it's not really going anywhere. So even though we're sliding, money flow is not really coming out. Over on the 4 hour, stochastic and RSI are trying to inch higher. We might get a little bit of a breather here though. Money flow is well into the red. Stochastic's, our VWAP, is trying to head up with a little bit of a baby curl, but I wouldn't put too much strength on that. You'd want more of an aggressive up spike. Momentum's trying to come up, but it's just kind of lugging along here. So not too strong of a move on that momentum. Over on the 2 hour, stochastic is starting to fall off, RSI is starting to fall off, VWAP's starting to get close to that neutral zone, and we could break here. Our momentum wave is starting to curl after getting a green dot, so that's not good because that could invalidate that bullish momentum. And our money flow is overall inching out very slightly. Over on the 1 hour, we have a manipulation X that could bring us down. Bearish divergence on our momentum, and our momentum's crashing. VWAP's coming down, but it is trying to get a little bit of a peak back up. Money flow overall is coming out. RSI is struggling to stay its ground, and our stochastic's kind of starting to flop over, but we might get a little bit of a curl soon if we manage to get like a little bit more momentum here. Over on the 1 hour, we are kind of bouncing off the bottom of this area that we had for this bigger breakdown area. So stochastic's starting to round off. RSI's kind of tapering down. Momentum's got a red dot and is heading down. VWAP looks like it wants to head up though. Money flow wants to try and head up. So we're very conflicting here on the 1 hour on our futures. When we look over at the daily for our futures, RSI sliding, stochastic sliding, money flows well into the bearish territory, momentum's falling, and our VWAP is not really going anywhere in the bullish momentum area. So overall on the daily, we are looking pretty bad, pretty similar to Bitcoin. Over on graph, we are pretty much hanging around here where we have this support area. If we can see everything else start to bounce, we may be able to pump off it. Stochastic's starting to fall away. RSI's falling away, momentum's falling away. RSI's trying to get a green dot, so it might push up, but we'll have to see how everything else is. Our VWAP's into the bearish zone, not really going too good. Money flows into the bearish zone, keeps trying to break that neutral zone, but it just keeps getting rejected. Over on the 4 hour, we're well into the bearish zone for our money flow. Stochastic's got a little bit of a bullish cross. RSI's starting to flop over though, so those are kind of conflicting. Our momentum is trying to come up with a double green dot that is trying to invalidate a red dot. So we could get a little bit of a push here. Got a little bit of a descending wedge here, which is a bullish pattern, but it's not a big wedge, so it really won't give us much of a breakout. Maybe take us to that Fibonacci resistance area. Over on the 2 hours, stochastic starting to round off. RSI is trying to head up, so that is good. We do have the strength for the RSI to keep moving. Our money flow is overall trying to come up, but is struggling. VWAP is in the bullish territory, but it looks like it could flop right over. Momentum has a double green dot, so that could come up. Kind of starting to curl. We'll have to see how the 1 hour is. 1 hour, we're very indecisive. We started to curl, but now we're trying to push again. Stochastic's running up, RSI is trying to run up, money flows into the bearish territory, but trying to push bullish, so we'll have to see if we can cross bullish and hold pretty well. Otherwise, we might just fall back under. VWAP is trying to push forward with that, so that is good for us. We are looking like we could push forward, but we'll have to see if we can actually get through that neutral zone. Over on Anchor, we are under our value area low here. So at this point, we could start to push above it. We did try to break it, but we got rejected. So that is a cause of concern, as if we start to roll over from here, we could see further downside. Our stochastic and RSI are heading down. Stochastic wants to get a little bit of a push up. If you're wondering where our next support level would be, it'd probably be around here, at about 0.22. And then if we broke that, maybe around here at 0.19. But money flow is in the bearish territory here. Stochastic's trying to make a little bit of a bounce. RSI might try to bounce with. Our momentum wants to try and curl, so we could push up here. Excuse me for a sec. Stochastic's starting to round on the 4 hour. RSI is pretty flat. Our VWAP is starting to round off. So it could test the bearish territory and maybe break into it. Money flow is starting to reject away overall. Momentum's starting to push away. So the 4 hours looking like we could start to round over. So the 1 hour is looking like it's in jeopardy. Our stochastic's starting to fall. RSI is slightly starting to fall. Money flow rejected, trying to cross bullish. Our VWAP broke down and is heading down kind of sharply. Our momentum's starting to curl with a red dot, so that's not too strong for us. So overall on the 2 hour, we're looking very bearish. Over on the 1 hour, our stochastic is trying to push up. RSI is pretty flat. Money flow wants to get back into the bullish territory, so we'll have to see if that can happen and if it can actually manage to hold. Our momentum wants to curl up, so we could push forward. We'll have to see if we can cross into that bullish territory and actually get some momentum behind it. Otherwise, we'll probably just flop right back over. XRP, we've got pretty good breakdown here. RSI is trying to head up with the green dot. Stochastic's falling, but really doesn't have much more to fall. Money flows into the bearish territory, but very, very slightly, so it doesn't really have much strength. Our momentum looks like it could try to curl, so we may set up some sort of a pivot point here. Our momentum is trying to round up. Stochastic's trying to push off. Our RSI is trying to head up. VWAP's pretty flat though, so that VWAP's not really going anywhere, but that money flow wants to kind of curl back up. So if that can curl up and cross that neutral zone, that would be good for us. Over on the 2 hour, we have like a ascending triangle here, so that could push us forward, but it's a very small one, so it wouldn't push us very far. Stochastic's trying to run up, but it really doesn't have much space to run, so that could keep our RSI going. Our money flow just can't seem to break that neutral zone and get into the bearish territory. It just keeps getting rejected time and time again. Our momentum wants to head up. Our VWAP's trying to head up, so eventually we may break this zone and actually get a pretty good explosive move up, as all the people panic selling are probably going to be washed out of the market soon. Stochastic's starting to run off, so that's not too good for our RSI, as our RSI is trying to run up and could fall away. Momentum looks like we could start to roll over here. VWAP's overall losing strength. Our money flow is trying to come up, so money flow is suggesting we could try and break bullish. If that money flow can break bullish, that would be good for us and could set us up for more upside. We have a reversal arrow. which we had a downtrend and a flat channel, so this could be a signal that we could get some push up as well. And last but not least, Algo, one of the few gainers of the day, is got a little baby hammer candle that could end up making this a bottom. Stochastic wants a round, RSI is trying to push, very similar to other coins. Our VWAP's trying to head up, money flow's trying to head up, momentum looks like we could curl in the next few days. We're on the 4 hour, stochastic's starting to round off, RSI's kind of flat, money flow's overall in the bearish territory but pretty flat. VWAP's in the bullish territory but pretty flat. Our momentum's kind of tapering off and starting to curl away in this bearish territory, so that's not good for us and could set us up for some further downside. Over on the 2 hour, a little bit of a possible descending triangle or descending wedge actually, since it's a little more slanted, so that could break us up but wouldn't take us too far. So we are seeing some slight bullish patterns forming. Stochastic wants to run up, RSI is pretty flat. Our money flow is pretty flat, but it is in the bullish territory, so hopefully it can get some strength and start to curl up. Our VWAP is just flip-flopping around. Momentum has a green dot that confirmed, and it is trying to push forward. So the 2 hour, we are trying to push forwards. Over on the 1 hour, the money flow did go into the bullish territory, tested the bearish territory, and broke back up. So if we can maintain and get some momentum here, that could help the lower medium to higher time frames gain some strength. Our stochastic's starting to push up, RSI is starting to head up, momentum's starting to round up with a green dot, and our VWAP's pushing up, so we do have some signals that could help us push forward. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a great night.